All right, something a bit different today. I have recently reviewed a Coriolis system for Coriolis The Great Dark, which is developed by HOD Publishing, and it was very good. Really enjoyed looking at that. But I was talking to the developer a little bit, and he was saying, "Oh, you should check out the other system that we recently did for Kickstarter." And that's above me here, the Advanced Fighting Fantasy Foundry Pack, and the Kickstarter's over there on that side, which is the Foundry Pack, I should say, which is basically Advanced Fighting Fantasy. Now, I know Fighting Fantasy because that's pretty much how I started in the hobby back then when I was, 12 years old or something, and went to the local library, looked at some of these books, and Choose Your Own Adventure and Fighting Fantasy were the ones I went to, especially Fighting Fantasy. Also, later on in my life, about 10 years ago, I had the chance to meet at a convention Ian Livingston. He was giving a talk. There was actually a teachers' conference, an educators' conference. And he was talking about how to use fiction and so on to help students learn, which was really interesting. So anyway, don't have huge amount of time because I'm sure I'll get the lunchtime call in a minute. And therefore, I'm going to just show you what's in the system, what it looks like. And I have to say I'm quite impressed. It's got a different aesthetic to some of them because it's old schooly. It's all black and white. So just so you know about that one. Now, one thing is, you can see here, this is currently being developed by HOD Studio Publishing. It's being updated regularly, version 13. It's got lots of content in it. But I don't actually know at this stage where you would go to buy it if you wanted to buy it. I just sent the guy a message on Discord. Maybe he comes back to me, but otherwise I'm sure it'll be in the comments or I will put it in later when I know. So, Arion Games. These are the guys behind it. Basically, they are doing mainly role-playing games. Some of these you might know, some of these you mightn't know, but the Advanced Fighting Fantasy is the one I'm looking for. They even have a web shop, but they don't seem to be offering the Foundry one. The Kickstarter here, this is what the Kickstarter was. Last updated 21st of August, which is not long ago. But I think it finished delivery now, basically, but it finished a few months ago. So, again, it looks very good, but yeah, I don't actually know where to get it here. May. Finished in May. 1st of April to 1st of May. So if you want to find out a bit more about that, check out that page. It's still up. Right, this is now the Foundry system, and you can see this is the world of Titan. Very nice little map. And what the system comes with, and it's a little bit fiddly, to be honest, to install, but install the system and the module if you have the module. The module has got all the content in it, the system has the character sheet and the basic mechanisms, but the content is all in the module and the premium module. And this is sort of the welcoming page to the module. So you've got the same sort of nice artwork, which I quite like. And you get contents. Now, this is version 13 light and dark mode, so don't put too much store by this being on black background. But basically, you've got hero creation, game rules, combat, you've got magic, religion, all the content of the books you've got in here as well. If you click on something of this here, for example, adventure ideas, you then get a little pop-out with that chapter. And that's page by page. Little tip for Foundry, if you click on the single page mode button up there, it actually becomes scrollable, which I prefer personally. So you can see there is a lot of content in here. There's a lot of tables in here. Dungeon Creator, that would be, don't think it is, but that would be a really, really cool table. Let me find out. Dungeon Ruins. Yeah, oh yes. Or Roll Dungeons Ruins table. Let's have a look what comes out. To actually automate, draw a result from Dungeons Ruins table. Okay, that's not quite the generator I was looking for. Maybe it's the other one. Draw result. No, but having this sort of thing as a roll it up and write it as journal system, that's really cool. I don't know whether they'll be able to do it, but hey, that would be nice. But Kickstarter's done, so maybe not. So you get the world, you get a lot of content, you get character sheets. Now, character sheets, character generation is usually what I like to do to show off a system, but I don't know the rule system well enough. But if you do go into here, and also check out the wiki for the system, because that's one of the best I've seen. If you go in here, for example, now it's chapter 2, game rules. That's not the one I want. So back to the main one. Hero creation. Yeah, you get this little pop-up, and then you create a character sheet on the right and have this walkthrough on the left. It talks you through everything you need to do. Explains the rules, what you start with, how it grows, specialty skills, and so on. And on the skills, certainly, once you get into past the lists, if you go into the combat skills descriptions, you get these little icons here, which you can actually drag onto your character sheet. So it's very nice. Hallo Tlagor, meldet sich auch gerade kurz hier auf Moonbeam. Very nice. So that's nicely done, I think. First of all, when I looked at the skills, at the lists here, I thought, oh, well, wouldn't it be nice to be able to drag them onto the character sheet? But actually, on the next page, that's what you get. So read to the end. Read to the end. So a lot of the talents are in here. You've got a huge amount of content. And hidden away at the end, you've got sample archetypes. So this is sort of the character. Let's have a look. This is a dwarven warrior. This is what it looks like. So you have the basics. Yeah, you've got the tabs here as usual on Foundry. This is not a magic user, so the magic tab is empty. You've got the equipment on there that you can all drag onto it and tracks your load and encumbrance. Not quite sure how it copes if you, with the screen size, probably makes a scrollable list. Shall we try it? Give him some more equipment. Yeah, you get a scroll bar. Okay. So you get the equipment, talents, and effects. Now, these are actually programmed so that it helps you understand the rules. So if there's a talent that gives you a particular bonus on a roll, it will actually do that in the background, which is quite nice. So you can see the active effects here. Dark seeing and strong arm, for example. You can always look at them. Yeah. What they actually do, how long they last, what the changes are. This one is probably should look up here. Mouse overs are really used very well. You've got a lot of explanations without having to open anything. So mouse over explains how to use the different talents. And then you've got a little bit of biography. This is an archetype. There's not a lot here. But what you can do, and I wanted to show you this, as you can roll directly from here. So you can roll an attack. You then get the skill, your access skill. Basically, you can have a bonus here if you like, and roll. Now, the thing is, I don't understand this rule system in too deep, but as I understand it, basically, if you have two people melee attacking each other, then they're acting at the same time. So if you target the other person you're attacking, and I roll now, then the person being attacked gets a pop-up saying, you're being attacked, what weapon do you want to attack back with? And basically, whoever wins this contested roll then takes damage. Come across that before. But basically, this makes the initiative order a bit tricky in this game. But hey, I'm sure you can work it out. It works. I checked it out. But then the application of damage, for example, is manual. This is really cool. Let me show you this as well. This is, again, it's me understanding the system more than anything else. People who know this system will say, oh, this is obvious. You see down here, this little table. You basically, for every weapon, you have a damage track. And depending what you roll on a 1d6 up to 7, I guess if you get a bonus, it then translates that into damage. So you don't roll the damage, you roll an index on a table, an array, and then you read out the element of that array to tell you that. And having that automated, I think, is definitely a good idea. So you've got here 1d6 plus 1 is on the damage track. Yeah, that's right. I rolled a 1, and that means 3 damage. You compare that to the roll of the armor of the other person. I can do an armor roll here, just for this person here. So that means I rolled a 3-0 protection. You then go to the token if you have it, and then you take one of the hit points off, one of the stamina points off here. Anyway, just to give you a little bit of an impression of what that looks like. Now, I'm going to just hop into one of the adventures. Now, this comes with, as I understand it, the Wishing Well adventure. And depending what level you went for, there's another adventure called Akbar's Retreat. And there's a monster manual called Out of the Pit, if you want something more. And I have to say, yeah, the guy from HOD Publishing gave me these modules for free. So thank you very much, because I was aware of the Kickstarter, but didn't go for it at the time. So let me have a look at the Wishing Well. So if I have the Wishing Well here, you get these dungeon maps done. And they're quite nice. They're quite well done. They're lit. They have all the, slight spoilers by the way, they have all the walls on them. They've got the doors on them. And if you drop your character onto them, you can start exploring. They also have all the general entrance here. Now, I used to use pincushion. So if I hovered over something, it would pop it up. Don't know why it doesn't work, but it doesn't work currently. So it says, no, do not contain module flags. Oh, well. So ignore that error. That's my module getting in the way. So if I now go to my character, Cohen the Barbarian, drop them into there, you will see that initially it's dark. But I've got a little module called Torch. Right-click on that. Make it a bit bigger for you so you can see what's going on. Right-click on there. Push on the torch, and there you go. I've got it lit. And then I can start dungeon crawl. You get the door sounds. Yeah, so that's really well done. The automatic rotation of the token I really don't like in version 13. You can switch it off. And then you come into here and, whoa, there are 4 goblins around the table and you have to fight. And this is very much an old-fashioned dungeon crawl. So that's how it seems to play. You can develop your character, of course, and it's not meant as a solo, by the way. This is meant as a group play. That has changed a bit. So, but yeah, you can very merrily explore the dungeon here. Yeah, with the sound effects. I normally switch them off, but some people like them. Oh dear, there are spiders here and they're in the ceiling, so that's why they're shaded. Yeah, you have to make them visible first, because as a GM you can see them, but players can only see them once I did this. Ah, now I made her invisible. Or him, or it, or them. Right, so really nicely done. You get this sort of map. You've got, for Akbar's Retreat, you've got another map. Won't spoil that too much, but just to show you, you've got it here. All walled, all lit, all beautifully done. For Out of the Pit, you just have the region maps. Kakabat doesn't sound nice. It's German anyway. Alancia. Yeah, this one is interesting because here we've got Alancia map. Really nicely done. I really like the graphic style. Proper old school like. But if I go up here, I've got another map of Alancia. If I go on that, don't know. Port Black Sand. It looks very different, doesn't it? Is this a different Alancia? This says Alancia Western Ocean, so this is probably only a bit. Yeah, this is only this bit up here. But yeah, this is a little pale. I'm sure you could enhance this a little bit to make it a bit stronger. Anyway, you can see, I think, in my assessment anyway, there's a lot of effort that went into publishing this, into putting this together as a module. I'm sure there's a real hardcore fan following for this one, and I had a look at some of the videos of, what's his name? Graham. Who's the guy who made this game? Let me have a look. Graham Botley. He was running this via Fantasy Grounds, and I used to look at Fantasy Grounds. Around 2018, I started playing with it a little bit. And I have to say, even though this is black and white, this is so much nicer. So if you're looking for somewhere to get it, and if there's a way of actually buying these modules, I would definitely recommend go for Foundry rather than Fantasy Grounds. This is so much prettier. You can get the books on drive-through. I'll pop a link, an affiliate link down in the chat, in the description. So, for example, 1041 for the PDF of the core rulebook. There's various modules. You get a picture here, an explanation of by the author of how it all works and what's in the books. Overall, pretty good ratings. The only distractors, I think, where there's really poor ratings, are actually about fulfillment of print on demand. So, I hope this gave you a little bit of an inclination of what this looks like. It might be of interest to you. There is apparently something coming, or they have done it already. I think it's in drive-through. Let me just find it. Sorry if this is a bit clickety-click. Adventure creation system. So that's out already. That was crowdfunded recently. And this one is supposed to basically let you roll dungeons and let you solo this to an extent as well. Rule system Troika. Not sure that's right. Yeah. And I think, yeah, selection bestseller is relatively fresh. I think having something like a good implementation of a solo rule set on Foundry, I've certainly tried it with Starforge and a little bit of Ironforge, can be really cool, because all of the journaling, all the remembering this, remembering that, creating the NSCs and stuff, when you're soloing, the Foundry implementation can really make it a lot easier for you. Let's put it that way. Hello, Mohammed. You're just joining a little bit late. I was talking about Advanced Fighting Fantasy, 2nd edition, Foundry system. So a little bit niche today, but good to see you. Yeah, any questions from anybody? And I have to just double check my Moonbeam chat because it's not on the screen, just in case Clargo is still there. Ah, Paul Watson as well. Right, so Paul says you can buy this at HOD Publishing website. That's what Paul says. So I might have to go there and show you. Ah, yeah, you can buy it at HOD Publishing. So it's hodpub.com, product Advanced Fighting Fantasy. Thank you very much, Paul, because on Foundry, the link where it says buy this now actually goes to the Kickstarter. So that might be something to update them. Yeah, up at the top. Yeah, if you look at this link, this is the module listing. And if you look at the purchase here, it takes you to the Kickstarter page. So really good tip. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it. And I've got more viewers today on Moonbeam than I have on Twitch now. How about that? So go and get it. Definitely worth it. Core rules. You also get the Terror in the Woods, Combat Companion, Citadel of Chaos. So there's more available. Stellar Adventures takes the whole thing to space. How about that? And we are back at the Expanse here. Some of them are coming soon. So Q4 2026. Oh yeah, that's a little longer. A little further away. Good. All right, there's a link. Fine. Paul says there's a link as well somewhere else under the official modules section. So, Clargo, I'll see you on Tuesday when we are back in space and I'm back at school. Great. So yeah, as I said, I just wanted to show you this briefly. I think it's definitely a very detailed system. It looks a little bit crunchy, it looks a little bit old school, just looking at some of the rules here. But this is, as I said, more about Foundry than about what we have otherwise. Yeah, if you just look at the reference tables, you've got moving modifiers, climbing modifiers, falling damage modifiers, breathing modifiers. You've got disguise modifiers. You've got fumble tables, of course, relatively short, dodging tables. So having a crunchy system supported by Foundry, I think, is really good. Anyway, Mohammed, this is about, as I said, the Advanced Fighting Fantasy 2, 2nd edition, and the Foundry implementation. And that's, I think, it from me for now. Let me just go to a prettier map as I sign off and go to my lunch. But it's really cool that so many of you came out to say hello on the stream, even though I'm streaming at lunchtime. So didn't expect you to be here, but good to see you all. Yeah. I'll be away for a couple of days, by the way, going off over to Paris, so you won't be seeing me on stream or online for a few days. So take care, everybody. Have I remembered my finishing screen? No, I haven't. So I'll just wave from here. Bye-bye.